William, as the representative of the villagers, went to the corporation to negotiate about the house demolition. Who knew that as soon as he arrived, he found out that the president of the corporation was actually his college classmate, Jack. He then stated the purpose of his visit. After hearing this, Jack, for William's sake, immediately agreed to the house demolition and offered a high price of $5,000 per square meter. William knew very well that their village's location was bad, and it was not worth such a high price at all. But he didn't expect Jack to give him so much respect, so without another word, he signed his name on the contract. The next day, he told the villagers this good news. Just as everyone was getting ready to sign the contract, the village chief stood up and bluntly said this contract could not be signed. While everyone was puzzled, the village chief gave the reason. It turned out the neighboring village's demolition was $6,000 per square meter. She believed William took a kickback, profiting off the villagers' demolition compensation. After hearing this, William immediately explained everything. It was only because their village's location was bad, and it wasn't originally within the demolition plan, so naturally the price was lower than the other villages. Hearing William's explanation, the village chief, full of disdain, thought William's lie had been exposed, and that was why he was rushing to explain. At this moment, the villagers also confirmed the details, that indeed the neighboring village's demolition compensation was $1,000 more per square meter than theirs. After hearing this, the village chief began to slander William, saying he pocketed the price difference of the whole village's compensation and incited the villagers to never sign the demolition contract. Then everyone began to accuse William of being inhuman, making money off his fellow villagers against his conscience. But just yesterday, it was clearly the village chief who led them to William, begging him to act as their representative, to negotiate with the corporation so the village could be included in the demolition plan. If it really didn't work out, even getting less money was fine. Seeing their pitiful state, William agreed to their request, but he didn't expect his kindness would turn into a bad deed, not only making them misunderstand that he profited in between, but also slandering him like this. Just as William's mother stepped forward to defend her son, she was almost scolded by them. This scene directly angered William. He told everyone he had acted with a clear conscience, then took out the demolition agreement he signed with the corporation to show them. It clearly stated $5,000 per square meter. After seeing William's contract was the same as theirs, they immediately changed their attitude, not only offering apologies, but also looking fawning and obsequious. But the village chief didn't believe it was real, insisting that William took everyone's price difference, saying that what he showed was a fake contract, and the one he showed was not the same as the one he actually signed. Then, the villagers, misled by the chief, again began to insult William. They never expected that the boy they watched grow up could do something so heartless, cruelly profiting so much off them. They all cursed William, calling him shameless. Seeing everyone so agitated, William had no choice but to calmly explain. The corporation's demolition was mainly to develop tourism. Other villages each had their own special developments, with not only developed transportation, but also unique farming industries. But their village was deep in the mountains, without even a decent road, so how could they compare with other villages? But the village chief dismissed his words, thinking they had no reason to be treated as inferior, and that the demolition compensation should be equal for all. Once these words came out, they gained the villagers' approval, and they all wanted to give William trouble. Helpless, William had no choice but to call Jack, to let him personally tell everyone how much per square meter the demolition price was. But even after hearing it was $5,000 per square meter, they still didn't believe William, because when William called, he addressed Jack as an old classmate. The village chief thought he was an actor William had hired. Helpless, William had to explain that he really was the corporation's president. But even so, the villagers still had no intention of letting William off, all believing he had profited from their demolition compensation, demanding him to explain clearly. No matter how William explained, no one believed him. Then he angrily said, back when they asked him to negotiate, everyone had said it was fine, even if the money was less. And now that he had settled the demolition compensation, why were they repaying kindness with resentment? But after hearing this, the crowd didn't feel they were wrong, and only blamed William for taking more of their money. Helpless, William had to tell the truth. When the corporation first surveyed, the compensation for the villagers was $4,000 per square meter. Now, for his sake, they had raised it to $5,000 per square meter. Of course, with this explanation, the crowd definitely didn't believe him. Seeing everyone treat her son like this, his mother couldn't take it anymore and bluntly said that her son, as a young entrepreneur, had helped everyone many times over the years. Even if they weren't satisfied with the compensation now, they shouldn't treat her son like this. But unexpectedly, once she said this, it immediately angered the crowd, saying that when William once helped them live stream to sell farm products, who knew how much money he had secretly made from them? They all began to accuse William of wrongdoing, and even the village chief baselessly targeted William, even urging the villagers to make William return all the money he had made from them over the years. So under the village chief's instigation, the villagers began to verbally abuse William and even physically attack him. They never expected that the very people the mother and son had helped would repay kindness with revenge like this. This action directly enraged William, so he declared in front of everyone, since everyone was being so excessive, then the houses would not be demolished and no one would get a single cent. But the villagers didn't care, and the village chief even threatened William, ordering him to return all the money he had earned from them over the years. Facing everyone's threats, William bluntly said they didn't need to drive him out. He would leave with his mother on his own. Then he tore the demolition contract into pieces, declaring that no one would ever get this compensation. After hearing this, the village chief was furious and prepared to teach William a lesson with the villagers. But just at that moment, Jack suddenly arrived with his men and stopped the villagers' unreasonable actions.